Welcome to the Mindfulness Broadcast. Well, I want to focus today, I want to use this Mindfulness Broadcast to talk about values and how we can continue to bring them into focus and to prioritize as we move through life. And really that it is our work to continue to come back and to do that, that the world will not make a space for us to live into our values. It will be very rare. And in fact, the world, as you very well know, when you think about the demands that are put upon you and asked of you, it often puts our values under pressure or under strain. And there's a tension that lies there. And in a world where we might have a whole lot to do, we might find less resiliency to really live into holding and maintaining a life that aligns with our values. And we might also just completely kind of tap out of the awareness that we are out of alignment with our values. And our brain, and especially our body, our nervous system, will send us cues when we are not living in alignment with our values. Our values are those things that help us feel like we are on track, like we are doing something with a purpose, like we have meaning, what we're doing has meaning. And so when we are out of alignment with those things, which can slowly happen over time as the pressure of life and outcomes and busyness pushes against us, and we can suddenly kind of wake up to this feeling of like, I don't feel stoked about my life or what I'm doing or how I'm doing it, or I don't feel that level of alignment that I used to feel or energy that I used to feel. So we're going to use our practice today to mindfully tap back in or bring our spotlight back onto our values and figure out how we are living in relationship to those things, and to see if we want to do it a bit more mindfully. With that, let's get into our practice. So I want you just to close your eyes or take a soft gaze this morning and just take a moment to drop in physically into this practice that you are intentionally being a part of. Just spoke a moment ago about how our body gives our brain cues when we're out of alignment with our values. And we can use that same system, kind of reverse engineering, to send body messages to our brain. So by putting our body in a place of intention and purpose, we can send a message to our brain that says, we're doing something here. We're doing something special. So can we focus in? So think about what that body posture looks like for you in this moment. It changes based on where we are, what we have access to, but generally involves some level of groundedness. So you can think about, if you're sitting in a chair, perhaps your feet are uncrossed, your legs are uncrossed, your feet are grounded into the floor. You can feel, you might wiggle your toes, you can feel your socks rub against your shoes and your shoes on the floor. You can feel the pressure on your heels, perhaps. And imagining just grounding in, being connected to this present place that you're in. And then feeling that energy pull up through your legs and into your pelvis. Thinking about whether you're sitting or you're standing, but being intentional and finding a balance in that. So not leaning to one side or the other, not leaning forward or too far backwards. Feeling that strength and energy move up through your spine. And what we think about as a strong back, not stiff, not rigid, but strong. Your shoulders fall back as your chest is open. Think about this as an open front, an open heart. welcoming and acknowledging what is. Your arms might be open, or palms down, or your hands even laced together. Feel that energy move up through your neck, lifting the crown of your head, maybe feeling your chin tuck just a little. And then softening that space between your eyebrows. Just allowing the breath to move in and move out. And acknowledging what might be a busy brain, a sleepy brain, a worried brain, an energetic brain, a happy brain, just acknowledging what's happening for you internally. Just acknowledging that. We're not here to fix it. Mindfulness doesn't ask us to fix it, but rather just to observe it and to build a relationship with it. I want you to think about your own values. And maybe you've done deep values work where you can right away identify your top 2 values, for example. Or you might go broad and think about maybe there's just a list of values that come to mind. Values are those things that we deem as important. They're the gas in our tank. It might be things like family, generosity, adventure, individualism, creativity. These are just examples. Allow your brain to kind of land on a couple of these values that are important to you. And bring those into focus. And then explore the ways that those values show up in your life. Thinking personal, professional, how you communicate, the choices you make, the words you choose, the relationships you tend to, the time you dedicate to these. How do these values show up in your life? We might scan the past as well as the present. And as we scan and as we explore, we might find that there are places where we are out of alignment with those values. That while we find, for example, family as one of our highest values, perhaps we aren't being with family in a way that aligns with that. Maybe we're giving 100% in our professional lives and leave very little for family, which is normal and natural, and also then feels heavy for us if that is our value. And so thinking about in what ways can we live in better alignment with our values? And as you think about that, I want you to notice how automatically our brain might go all the way to the far end of that spectrum, right? Well, what am I supposed to do? Quit my job and spend all my time with my family, right? That might be what your brain produces. And instead, I want you to think about how can I move one notch forward with the energy and the prioritization I give to this value. So, for example, if we think about that again within the family context, can I give 5 minutes of undivided attention as soon as I walk through the door? Or right before we sit down to eat? Can I create just a daily practice where I spend 30 seconds looking into the eyes or holding the hands of the family members I love? Mindfully thinking about how we can prioritize our values in the very lives that we are living. In the lives that more often than not ask us to push those boundaries aside for the name of productivity and work. And we're going to close out the meditation this morning. I hope you leave curious, inspired. Find your breath again in your body. Notice that posture of intention, of purpose. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Thanks for being here, everyone. I appreciate you. Be well, and I'll see you next week.